Alright, so this video is on linear equations, and what I'm going to talk about today comes from this section. It's page 122 in the book. Just this first section called linear equations that we're saying we're going to simplify, add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So this looks opposite from the order of operations, and here's why. Because to build an equation, if you saw in my other video, we had to go through the order of operations, but to solve an equation we have to go through the opposite effect. So let's write this down. We're going to say linear equations are, the steps to solving a linear equation is 1. I'm going to say to solve linear equations. Set equal to 0. Oh, no, sorry, not set equal to 0. Wow, that was really bad. Not set equal to 0. That's something else. Ignore that. This is to simplify. That's what I meant to say. Simplify. That means use your parentheses, do exponents, everything it says right here. So this is parentheses, fractions, combined terms, multiply exponents out, make it look all nice and pretty. 2, we are going to then add or subtract. And then we're going to multiply or divide. So how does this actually work? Well, first we should probably define what a linear equation is. So a linear equation is something with one variable. So say we had a linear equation that looked like this. That's linear. T plus 2 minus 6t plus 8, 6, 7, 8 equals 5. That one is linear. Linear just means we have one variable. So they're solvable because we have one variable. They're solvable. We can break them down into the variable equals form. So we can break it down into x equals or t equals. When you have more than one variable, it gets tricky because if you have more than one, you can say t equals y, but we don't know what y is, so we don't know what t is. It makes it very difficult. You have to solve those different ways. But to solve just a linear equation, then that means we're solving for x, y, or t, or w, or whatever variable we happen to be using. So that means, let's go over an example. Say we have the problem 3, actually I'm going to write this with my 3 times 5 minus 6x all over 2 equals 10 minus 30x. Alright, so now we're going to solve for x. We're going to find a number which x equals. So we're going to go through the steps. First we need to simplify. Simplification, first we need to distribute. So that means any parentheses, when you're simplifying, simplify. The main focus here is parentheses and combining like terms. So if that's the main emphasis, then let's say we had, I'm going to actually add a plus 2x right there, or minus 2x, I guess. Add a minus 2x to the top of that fraction. So now we're going to distribute. So 15 minus 18x minus 2x all over 2. So now we say that 15 minus, or equals 10 minus 30x So if that's the case, then we turn this into 15 minus 16x, or minus 20x, sorry, minus 20x over 2 equals 10 minus 30x. So now we go through the steps. Add or subtract. Well, there's nothing that we can add or subtract just yet. We still have to simplify, because when it says simplify, fractions are also in there too. So that's another thing that we have to look at watching for. So not only are we looking for parentheses, combining like terms, we're also looking for fractions. We have a fraction. So we're not even done with our simplify step. This is all part of the simplify step. We are not done with it yet, because the parentheses and combining like terms and the fractions. We did parentheses, combining like terms with the 18 and the 2, and that gave us 20, but now we've got a fraction. So to get rid of that, we're going to multiply both sides by 2. Which those cancel out. We're left with, I'm going to move it up here, 15 minus 20x equals 10 minus 30x. Oh, no, 20x minus 60. 20 minus 60x. Because we multiplied that side by 2. Alright, so now that that's done, now we can add or subtract. Oh, I want to actually add 60x, because that's nice. Positive x's are nicer to deal with. So that's 15 plus 40x equals 20. Now we're going to minus 15. 40x equals 5. Divide by 40. So now we're on the multiplication division step, which is usually the shortest step. Not 40x, divide by 40 equals 5 divided by 40. So x equals 5 divided by 40. So just a quick recap. When a linear equation is any equation with one variable that you're told to solve for, it will have the two things linear equations will have. One variable and an equals sign. So that's another thing, is linear equations will have two things. They will have one variable, so only one letter. They won't have multiple different letters. They can have multiple of one letter, but they can't have multiple different letters. They can't have an x and a y. They have to have just an x or just a y. They will also have an equals sign. That allows you to solve. And then when solving through linear equations, you go through the steps. Simplify, which is your longest, takes up the majority of this, is getting rid of your parentheses, combining your like terms, and getting rid of fractions. Then you can solve just like a normal equation like we did over here. So again, two things that things need to have to be a linear equation. One variable and an equals sign. Then you go through these steps. If they don't have one variable and an equals sign, you can only simplify, you cannot solve. So let me repeat that. If they do not have one variable and an equals sign, you cannot solve, you can only simplify. In this one, we can simplify and then solve. The add and subtract, multiply and divide are solve steps. So make sure going through this when you're doing your linear equations.